guys, it is Lynn with Littlefoot Nursery. I am here with baby Noah. You guys have not seen Noah in a while. I haven't forgotten about him. I do sometimes cuddle him at night, but I just haven't made a video with him for a little while, so I felt like he was long overdue for a video. And for those of you guys who are newer to my channel and aren't familiar with Noah and his artist, he is the GabyGail sculpt by Claire Taylor. And he was a cloth body silicone baby edition that was released about a year ago, actually. I actually bought him secondhand from Dolphin, and he is absolutely precious. He's a big baby. He wears 3 to 6 month size clothing. I think he can actually even wear 9-month clothing. But yeah, he's just absolutely adorable, and he's my first and my only baby that I have from Claire Taylor, so he's very special from that perspective. And I wanted to do a video. It's so nice having my voice back. First of all, it's just so great not to be sick anymore. But I wanted to chat about a topic that I kind of saw talked about on a few different channels recently. I think it kind of originated on Crystal's channel, Life with Crystal, where she was talking about this company who I guess chose to use some of her footage from one of her Rose Doll Show videos, or a bunch of her Rose Doll Show videos, and they included it in something that they were filming, and essentially she was kind of bummed about it because they were portraying Reborns as really just being therapy dolls, and not really kind of showing a balanced perspective of the hobby. And then Inez from Don't Worry Baby Reborn Collective also made a video talking about this, about how the media seems to really enjoy talking about that side of the hobby. And then I recently saw another video by Christina's Reborns talking about this, and I think Pixiemommy Reborns also did a video. So a lot of interesting videos on the topic, and I thought, you know, this is worth talking about, and I think it's worth chiming in with just maybe some of my thoughts as well. And I think that the reason a lot of us are, you know, upset or annoyed by the way the media portrays this hobby is because I think that they really try to portray this hobby as being strange or bizarre, or something that, okay, you know, you must have like some issues, you know, where these dolls are helping you with those issues if you happen to collect these dolls or like these dolls, or babies. And this could be, you know, silicone babies, they could be realistic reborn babies, you know, any type of like realistic baby doll that I think kind of would fall into that category. So anyway, I just thought, you know, I would chat, and I'm going to attempt to change Noah into this this one-piece sleeper from Tea Collection while we do this video. And he's such a cute boy. He's so sweet. Yeah, but anyway, my thoughts on the topic are, I mean, I definitely, early on, I mean, there's a documentary, everybody knows this documentary called My Fake Baby. Oh yeah, by the way, Bones Reborns talked about this as well on his channel. You guys should check out all of these channels. But there's a documentary that was filmed in the UK called My Fake Baby. I think a lot of us saw when we were getting into the hobby, or just learning about the hobby. And yeah, and the documentary really kind of, you know, followed, you know, 4 different, I think it was like 4 different people. You know, one was an artist, one was a, you know, kind of grandma collector who, you know, missed her grandson, and she, because the family had to move to Australia, and she wanted to get a baby that looked like her grandson. And then there's another lady who, you know, there was a couple who couldn't have children, so the reborns were for them sort of like substitute children. And I think those are actually, maybe those were the only 3 stories. I'm trying to remember if there were any other ones that they were following. Yeah, I think that might have been it. And so anyway, but you know, I think that what the media tends, and since that particular documentary, there have been other ones, talking about, there have been talk shows, there have been, yes, a number of talk shows, and I think Stephanie was actually on a talk show, which was, I think, The Doctors, if I'm not mistaken, and I saw her on that show, and I thought she did a great job, like, portraying, kind of just, being like showing, herself to be like a cool, normal person who happens to like these dolls. But, I think hers was, from the perspective of being an artist. And so, I think they rarely sort of just show collectors in sort of a normal light. And I think that part of it is, they're, when, and this is kind of why tabloid magazines exist, they're trying to provide entertainment, and they're trying to, get as many views, for a TV show, or sell as many copies of a magazine. So it's not really very glamorous, I guess, to show reborns as just being normal, and, oh, this is just like a, art doll that is collectible, and, these babies are highly realistic, but they're just, beautiful 3D works of art. That just, I guess, isn't as compelling of a news story to, like, really, I guess, capture people's attention. So they end up really talking about the therapy angle of the reborn hobby, and talking about how these babies can help. And this is all, and the therapy angle is definitely a very valid angle. And there are a lot of ladies in this community who, got into this hobby for those reasons, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I don't want anyone to mistake what I'm saying here. Absolutely nothing wrong with being into the reborns for those reasons, but those aren't the only reasons that collectors collect, or that people are in love with this hobby. So I guess I would just say that it's really it's really for a lot of us, like, I think for Crystal, for Inez, for myself, for Christina, for a lot of us, we actually all, have always collected dolls in some way, shape, or form. For me, I have collected dolls and loved dolls ever since I was a little girl. Look at Noah, you guys. Oh, this is really cute on him. I really like him in, like, more vivid colors. Let me try to adjust this a little bit so sort of covers him a little bit better. It's actually a little bit loose. T Collection clothing is a little bit larger. You can see his shoulders are a little bit more narrow, but there he goes. He looks really cute. So, sorry, I keep, like, I like to do these chat videos, and then I get distracted by, like, how adorable the baby is. So, but I think that a lot of us who collect are, we collect there are a lot of us who collect other types of dolls. Actually, it would be really, really interesting if there was a way to poll every single reborn collector out there, which I know is absolutely impossible to actually make that happen. But it would be so interesting to see, who, who would classify themselves as, kind of more of a general doll collector, and then who would kind of classify themselves as, using the reborns for some type of therapy, whether it's kind of like substitute children, or therapy for having gone through the loss of a child, or some other type of therapy for coping with anxiety. I think a lot of people have shared that having their reborn really comforts them when they're going through, like, a stressful time. And just holding these babies, you guys, there's something, like, really magical about that. And as I hold Noah, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's just definitely something, like, so amazing and magical about just holding a realistic baby in your arms. So yeah, I mean, I think that, for me, I collected when I was younger. I remembered I really got into doll collecting for myself in high school, but, when I was 11 or 12, I mean, I did have an American Girl doll. They were fairly new back then. And I remember I had Kirsten, my sisters had Samantha and Molly. I have two younger sisters. And then In high school, I collected the Madame Alexander dolls. I remembered buying them from the toy shop and like just saving my own allowance and buying them. And then also I would collect those dolls from QVC. If you guys remember those porcelain dolls, I remember I loved watching those. And I even remember my dad bought me like one of my first dolls from QVC, which was so cool. But yeah, they were porcelain dolls. They were dressed in like these really frou-frou dresses, and I just had like my dolls displayed around my room. And then I sort of was like not into doll collecting as much during my college years, but then and then sort of into my like early to mid 20s. But then sort of mid 20s, I rediscovered American Girl because they opened up all the stores, and I walked into a store and it was like magic, and I just fell back in love with doll collecting again. So I collected American Girl dolls with a vengeance, and acquired quite a number of them. And I remembered, I would participate on the American Girl forums and carry, kind of bring an American Girl doll with me on trips so I could do like photos and stuff like that. And so I had a lot of fun just kind of with the doll collecting hobby. And then about 10 years ago, I discovered Reborns while I was on eBay. And then it was like the rest was history. And, soon, and, I acquired my first few Reborns. And then later on, several years later, commissioned Andrea to do the portrait sculpt of my daughter, Audrey. And then I kind of took a hiatus from collecting while my kids were young, and then just about a year ago really got back into it. And so I'm so happy to have like rediscovered the hobby. But as you can see, like I would definitely fall into sort of that general doll collector category where I've just collected all sorts of dolls, kind of throughout my life. Oh, and you know what? I should credit so Dolly Love X3 or Dolly. Oh shoot, I think it's Dolly Love X3. Her channel. She did a video not too long ago. Just kind of a fun video talking about 5 different types of reborn collectors and which one are you. So as I was watching that video, I was like, yeah, I think I'm definitely the like general doll collector, because if I didn't have reborns, if I didn't collect reborns, it would be some other kinds of dolls. Like I've just always loved dolls, and that's just the case for me. But I guess that's not really like, I think the media doesn't really think that's a good newsworthy story. So you see a lot of like the talk shows and documentaries out there focusing on, I guess, kind of seeing, you can see from the lens of the person making the documentary or movie that they see the reborns as weird and the people who collect them as weird. And so it's just unfortunate because so many of us are like, I would say the vast majority of us are like nice, normal, cool people who happen to love realistic 3D works of art. But I think what's really unique about reborns is they are so realistic and they look so much like a real baby that you kind of can't help but I think for many of us, they don't just feel like dolls, they do feel like real babies. And I think that's like the really fun part. It's like when you were a child and you could pretend that your baby doll was real, even though the baby doll didn't look real. As an adult, it's so much easier to pretend that. And again, it's like, I think for a lot of us, it's really just for fun, and it's therapeutic, and it's enjoyable. I think that's just all there is to it. So it's a bummer when the media just like has a field day and kind of groups all collectors into the one bucket, and look, I think it's awesome, if the reborns can be therapeutic in that sense of maybe for someone who's like suffered the loss of a child, and this helps them get through that, or a miscarriage, or maybe just they can't have children, for whatever reason, and they want to have experience a little bit of what parenthood might be like, by being able to take their reborn out and dress their reborn and cuddle their reborn, and buy things for their reborn and spoil their precious baby dolls. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's not a hobby that's like hurting anyone. there are a lot of people who deal with hard things in life by, in unhealthy ways, like drinking or smoking or gambling, or running up huge, getting into financial trouble, or whatever it might be. Although on that topic, the reborns are not cheap, so I guess they could get you into financial trouble if you're not careful. But yeah, I mean, but I think for the most part, I mean, this hobby is so awesome. And, I think the more of us, for those of you guys who are on YouTube and are showing your babies, I think the more of us that are on here, I think that's awesome. Like, I think we should really, at the end of the day, we're really spreading awareness about the hobby. And, more and more people are discovering this hobby through YouTube and finding videos of these babies online. So yeah, I mean, that is like a really, really cool thing, and something that we should definitely like continue, in this community, and just feel proud for those of us who are on YouTube, and really sharing this hobby with others and educating people about what reborns are and how wonderful they are. This is such a more and more people are discovering this awesome hobby every day, which is amazing. And for the small part I've had to play in that, and there have been a few people who have shared with me that they discovered reborns through my channel, and that is so awesome to me, and just means so much to me that that I can introduce people to this hobby, and hopefully you guys can see that I'm just like a normal person. And so anyway, I don't know, I consider myself normal. Maybe I'm not, but that's just my own those are just kind of my own thoughts. So I think the more that we can kind of have more of us online and portraying and kind of counterbalancing, I guess, what the mainstream media shows about this hobby, I think the better. And and a lot of people do role play videos and take the babies out and get reactions for entertainment. It's for the entertainment of their viewers. It's not necessarily something that they would just kind of do in the privacy of their own home. Some do, and that's great. But just I think people should also kind of realize that. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is to each their own. We all have different reasons for collecting, but there are a bunch of us who just love dolls and love to collect these dolls because we love dolls, and that's it. I think I read somewhere that doll collecting is actually the #1 most popular hobby in the world, and that says a lot. I mean, so you guys can see. I mean, there are doll shows of all sorts of dolls, not just the Rose Doll Show and the International Doll and Teddy Show, which focus more on reborns and silicones. But there are all sorts of doll shows, and doll collecting is a popular hobby. I think what's special about dolls, at the end of the day, is they resemble people, and it really they're special in that way. Beyond just like our stuffed animals are special to us too, because they resemble a living animal, right? Even though they may be just a plush, but it really lends itself to pretend play, to being able to form an attachment, to your baby, and just I know we talk about bonding, and I think we, if it were like a pillow, we wouldn't talk about bonding to a pillow, right? Even though a pillow is cuddly to hold, arguably, and all of that. But because these resemble real babies, we talk about bonding, because you can really form, you can get attached, to to the doll, just like you could for an American Girl doll, or for any doll that looks like, that's meant to resemble a person, or meant to resemble an animal or some other living thing. So that's kind of my thought there. And I think with so I don't mean to go off on a total tangent, but those are just some of my thoughts on that topic. I think it was an awesome topic to chat about, and I guess it's while it would be awesome to have the media portray a more balanced view of collectors, and if they, a lot of collectors, I think there are a lot of people who have been contacted by the media, who want to do another documentary, but they're so afraid to participate because they don't want to be, labeled as like the crazy lady. And a lot of the media tends to do that. So I remember there was this one news reporter or somebody who, was inquiring on the Bountiful Baby forums or inquiring on Dolphin, trying to see if they could get ladies to participate in doing a documentary and filming, filming, interviews and stuff like that. And a lot of the ladies declined because, after seeing these other documentaries, they did not want to be portrayed as mentally unstable or portrayed as odd or just portrayed negatively. And I don't blame them. I would probably decline as well. I don't see myself. I mean, you guys can see, I don't even show my face on camera. But, mainly because I work full time. It might be different if I was retired and didn't have to worry about, maybe, somebody in my circles coming across these videos and recognizing me. But I do work full time. I have a very professional job, and I have a client facing job too. So it's not like I work in, IT or software engineering and I'm kind of just behind a desk. I'm actually out in front of people, and, I have a sales job. So it's, so for me too, I just, couldn't risk that, that sort of attention in a negative way. So, and I think a lot of us aren't public about our hobby because there isn't kind of that mainstream acceptance by society. I was trying to think about this. If society just in general totally accepted this hobby and viewed it as just a normal hobby, like anything else, hey, I play sports or whatever, I love to scrapbook, we wouldn't have to feel this sense of shame. It's not that we're really ashamed of the hobby, but it's almost like we are a little bit shy to share it or share ourselves, enjoying this hobby with the world, because the world does have this perception and the media really does not help that perception. So anyway, I think that, all of us just, if we can all just keep doing what we're doing, and, it's one conversation at a time. If you bring your Reborn out and you end up talking to a random stranger and sharing with them about this hobby, in a positive way, that's one person who's gotten kind of just a positive exposure. But yeah, I think that tonight, my aunt and uncle were visiting from out of town, and so I shared with them my baby Charlie, the Reborn Landon baby that I just recently made, and they were just amazed by how realistic he was, and so and yeah, and definitely appreciated the art part of it. But again, I think it's easier when when you're an artist, because that part of the hobby is easier to explain to people versus hey, I just love collecting these realistic babies, and that one is a little bit harder to explain. But yeah, I mean, but what I definitely just tell people is, they're 3D works of art. Yes, they're highly realistic dolls, but they're just incredible to display and to look at, but also they're nice to hold. They really are. It's just we would love holding our favorite stuffed animal. So anyway, I think I've talked long enough on this topic. I think this is a really long video, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. But thank you guys so much for watching. And isn't Noah just so sweet and adorable? Let me see if I can actually show him a little bit closer, just so you guys can see him. Yeah, he is just amazing. He's so sweet, and you guys can see his little feet. Yeah, Claire did a great job with this baby. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below, and let me know what you think about the media's portrayal of this Reborn hobby. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye.